back to the Small Business Show, where you get to hear the journey, find the challenge, and create solutions. I'm your host, Lori Brooks, and I thank you so much for joining me today. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. This week, I have the absolute pleasure of chatting with an award winning website designer and a branding expert, Ari Rose. Ari is on a mission to empower women entrepreneurs. Known for her ability to build badass brands for badass women, Ari specializes in creating crystal clear marketing, messaging, and pricing strategies that help her clients attract their perfect fit customers and thrive financially. With a deep passion for helping women turn their businesses into unforgettable brands, Ari has helped countless entrepreneurs fill schedules, sell out programs, and waitlist retreat. Her work is not just about design, it's about transformation and visibility in an oversaturated market. Ari, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited to chat as well. But before we dive into your journey, I want to rewind the clock just a bit. I want to go back to, say, the days of like junior high or high school. Think about a time when an aunt and uncle or a mentor might have asked you what you wanted to be when you grew up. What was your answer to that question back then?
Oh my God. In high school, I probably wanted to be a counselor, to be honest. I think that was my longest dream was to sit one-on-one with people and talk about problems. And yeah, I think it was always counseling.
I love that.
Yeah.
And in some way, you've actually kind of gotten there. It may not be the traditional like school counselor per se, but you are counseling women to build
Yeah.
out badass brands.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. See, so you're still helping women in one
No, and
way,
I
shape.
love one-on-one. I think it's way more, maybe as an introvert, I like it better, but I think you can get so much deeper when you
Mm,
cultivate that safe space with just one other person
mhm.
energetically. So in a way, I do feel like a therapist for business and life, honestly. So yeah, I think I've gotten there. I never made that parallel, but thank you for showing me that.
Of course. But yeah, I think life and business in and of itself, they are a parallel. I mean, the crazy stories and trials and tribulations that you go through in life can sometimes very much so mirror what you go through in business, just as scary. So,
Yeah, that's true.
oh goodness. So, you thought you were going to be a counselor.
Yes.
What were the steps? What was it that led you to a moment in your life where you said, you know what, I think entrepreneurship is going to be a part of my journey. This is kind of the direction that I'm leading. What was that moment for you? Where did that begin?
I think the seed was planted when I hired a life coach.
Mm,
My first year being a special education teacher, I realized that it was really emotionally draining, even though I loved my
mhm,
students. I hired this life coach, and she was like, I want you to go through Pinterest and find images that really make you feel something. And
mm,
I made this vision board that I still use all the time, and a lot of it has already come true, but I realized that I had like an office and I was like in a creative role and I had a creative space. And the word I had put was like creative and inspiring. And it's like a bunch of women around me. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting now that I look at it. But I realized that I wanted to be a business owner like then,
mhm,
but it was never like an active goal of like, I want to be CEO or anything. But I
mhm,
tended to date entrepreneurs and I had this
mhm,
idea that I could just help them, right? Like I was really organized and I was really supportive and I did all the back end things, right? They were the dreamers. I kind of did everything for them. And so for a while, I kind of hid behind them as
mhm,
my entrepreneurial journey. And then being in an abusive relationship, I think that was like, you know what? I should just do it now. I've
mhm,
built his dream for so long, being his right-hand person.
mhm,
I think I think my universe is trying to tell me I'm supposed to go this way.
mhm,
And it was kind of like let me just jump off the cliff. And I think that was the moment I was like, I'm going to have a business. I'm going to try. And that's what I did. So
Yay! I
thank
love
you.
how you really followed your gut. You
I
really
did.
started paying attention to those signs that were around you, that little bit here, a tidbit there, and space here and there. And you were you were getting the opportunity to see what the journey would look like, to see what that opportunity might be for yourself without
Yeah.
necessarily stepping into the journey. And you really kind of collected those bits and then recognized that why stay in the background? Why allow
Yeah.
this scenario, this situation to keep me in the background anymore? And I'm so proud of you for
Thank you.
making that shift and just listening to yourself, because it's not an easy thing to do. And I don't think people really focus on how hard that is to do, to really like take collective of what's going on around you in so many areas. And that's kind of why I'm harping on this for more the audience's sake, because you so eloquently placed,
Yeah.
all the pieces of the intuition that were guiding you from,
Yeah.
your life coach, your recognition that you needed a life coach, that you
100.
weren't where you wanted to be, that you were happy that you had accomplished the goal of becoming a special ed teacher. And that, in and of itself, is a noble accomplishment. It's an amazing thing to be doing. And again, it just speaks to how huge your heart is and how amazing you are as a person,
Yeah.
because all around your journey has just been helping. As you mentioned from
Great.
the
Yeah.
beginning, it was just, you wanted to help. You knew you were going to help. You didn't know how. You didn't know in what way.
Yeah.
You started off in education. You started recognizing there were these entrepreneurs in your life. Your life coach was like, think twice about things. So, what was the moment for you? Now, let's hear that moment when you decided, all right, I'm starting. What the journey start off? How did that look like? What were the hiccups and the headaches for you?
The hiccups and the headaches as a business owner or before I became a business owner?
What were the hiccups and headaches while becoming a business owner?
Whew. So many. I think there's just so much information out there
Mm,
that it's really overwhelming, especially if you don't come from an entrepreneurial household or have friends who have that similar path.
mhm,
So I think a lot of it is just how do I do this in a way that's I'm in integrity, I'm in alignment, but I also recognize I need help. And I've realized that a lot of business books that I read a lot, I read like 60 books a year or something. And most of the business books are written by men. And so
mhm,
that was really hard as well. And so I think the hiccups just getting started is everyone tells you to do something else, like
mhm,
funnels and ads and social
mhm,
media. And it's just like, okay, I just need to start and do something and do it
mhm,
well. And really, you almost have to get super grounded in this is what's working. I need to
mhm,
not be swayed by other people. And then when you find someone who is aligned with you, you hold on to them and you're like, okay, like that was my anchor is finding a really good coach. She's
mhm,
amazing. And she saved me in so many ways because without her, I wouldn't be as far as I am. But the hiccups is just, it gets really noisy out there for business owners.
mhm,
Everyone's trying to sell you something. And
mhm.
so you're like a little island and you're like, which way do I go? Yeah.
I agree 100%. It can
Mhm.
be very, very difficult to find the focus.
Yes.
Never mind keeping the focus, just finding it can
Yeah.
be a headache and a hiccup. What helped you find your focus?
Whew. I do a journaling prompt every Friday, and I ask myself four questions, well, three or four, it depends. But I always ask myself what's working,
Mm,
what's not, and what's the right next step. And then sometimes I'll ask myself, how is my body feeling? to really tap into myself. That's been my focus, is once it's on paper, your truth comes out. And when I look at what's working, that's very clear where I should focus my energy. For example, my favorite clients were women. And so it was there for such a long time, but I couldn't see it. But then once you write it down over and over, or I keep getting clients from LinkedIn or, these kinds of things, that's how I focus. And what's not working, I tend to drop away. I'm like, oh, this did not work for me. It's okay if I just put more energy into what is, and I don't have to do absolutely everything all at once. So that's been my focus, is just journaling consistently every Friday.
When you stop listening to your gut, that's when things go haywire. But following your gut and really finding that focus definitely excels things throughout the journey. So
True.
I love the way you've explained how, you've had the opportunity to really start cultivating the brand for yourself and keeping that focus and maintaining and moving forward. So
Yeah.
please share with us where you are now with your
I
brand.
am obsessed with every one of my clients. Like, I genuinely enjoy every single one of them, to the point where I'm like, I cannot wait to talk to you. I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to launch you. So I'm really proud of that, because starting out a business, sometimes you have to take things for money just to survive. And so I'm really proud that all my work, everything lately on my calendar, I really set the intention of, I want to really love my clients because this is my business. So there's no excuse for me now to work with someone that I'm not excited about.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm at now. And I think it's just, I'm finding more women who are like me, who are self-growth oriented, very spiritual, read a lot. And so I think me just showing up as myself, my business has grown into this thing where I'm like, oh my God, I've helped all of you guys. Like, I'm so proud. So, that's where my business is right now. Um, and I think it's just going to continue to grow. But I think one thing I really want to work on is like speaking up more. I tend to be in the shadows a little bit. I tend to be the back end person, helping women or just being very quiet. And so my goal is to really use my voice and share my story more so I can be a little bit more visible, and not be, as shy. I've worked on it a lot, but I think making videos or posts about your business is hard sometimes, especially if they're vulnerable. So that's my new goal for 2025, is really to be seen and shown up more. Yeah.
I love that. And you are on the right track as we close out the year with
Yes.
this final episode on the show, headed into
Yeah.
2025. You are becoming more visible.
I know. I'm like, this
So,
is being uncomfortable, but I'm gonna do it anyway because you're awesome. But I have found that it has increased my confidence a lot, is
Mhm.
um I advocate for us women to not be so small and to speak up and like really embody all of our skills and really be the magnet that we are. And so I need to embody that as well, because I need to practice what I preach.
I know exactly what you mean. And
Yeah.
believe it or not, that is why this show was developed. For
Yeah.
years, it was in audio form as just a podcast. And I was like, I'm never getting in front of a camera. I'm never going on a camera.
Yeah.
And then I had to push myself. And I was like, no. Much like yourself, I pushed, and here we are. And now I have the ability to help women like yourself get out there and be seen. I'm super excited to be able to be a part of this journey for you. So I'd love to know if, in fact, we had a time machine, which, from what I understand in the news, is not far off, but
Yeah.
it's not here yet. So when we get one,
Yes.
if you have the ability to go back, say 20 years, and
Mhm.
tell yourself something before the journey, before business, before
Yeah.
working, before becoming a teacher, what would you have told yourself?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, I would say keep being yourself. Um, I think that's always been how, like, I've always taken the road less traveled, but there was moments where I really questioned how unique I was, or like it felt weird to be so different. And um, I would just tell her, like, you are so special, you're so unique. Like, protect your light at all. I would say protect your light at all costs. Like, do not let anyone sway you to go another path. I would love to tell younger Ari at so many different points in my life, probably that advice all the time is like, you are so special. Just be yourself and you'll be okay.
I
Yeah.
love that advice. That is excellent advice for business, for life, across the board. Just
Oh,
be
thank you.
you.
It's a
Just
great
be
question.
you. Authentically
Yes.
you. That's a great
Yeah.
answer. If in fact we had a magic wand and could
Okay.
wave it and change anything at all in your industry of web design or
Oh.
building badass brands, what do you
Mhm.
feel like you would want to change?
Oh, this is a great question, but it might be a little controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. I I hate how easy it is to be a brand and web designer. I
Mm,
think that's why our field gets such a bad rap is people are marketing their services to business owners
mhm,
and they're not trained. They
mhm,
didn't go to school for it. They
mhm,
don't understand. And then it's taking advantage of someone, right? And I
mhm,
really don't like that. Of course you can hire someone on Fiverr. Of course you could hire your sister, whatever. But there's so much more that goes into it. And by the time they get to me, they're so scared because they have been
mhm,
burned before.
mhm,
And I don't think people do it to be malicious. I just don't think they are like in love with web design. I take courses all the time to keep up with my degree. I'm obsessed with web design and brand design, user experience. And so if I could wave a magic wand to just, you need to hire somebody vetted and certified. And I think the barrier of entry doesn't necessarily have to be high. It's just how does somebody vet them? Because
mhm.
usually what happens is, well, I don't know a web designer. Oh, you know someone? Great.
Right.
But like, how do you know that they're going to give you results,
Mhm,
right? And so I think that's where my biggest pet peeve is I can tell whenever somebody's not certified. I can tell and it drives me nuts because I'm like, you could hurt somebody's business. You could cost them
yeah.
sales if you do something wrong.
Yeah.
I really care about my job. And so that would be my magic wand is just for business owners to have a place to like thoroughly vet somebody
Hmm.
because
I
it's their business.
absolutely
It's not
love
a
that.
website. It's a business.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And I hope the audience heard that loud and clear, guys. That is
Yes.
a solution. That is a true business right there. I hope the audience takes and runs with that. And soon
Yes.
we will see some sort of standardized certification and a place or a
Love it.
program that people would be able to use in order to do so, or even an
Maybe
app.
I'll design the app. Who knows? But this is
See?
my, because a business is so crucial to your survival. And I'm like, ah, so maybe,
Yeah.
maybe I'll create it. Who knows?
There you go. See, we may have come up with the next venture. Who knows?
Yes, I love it. Somebody else create it and I'll
There
support
you
you.
go. Exactly. There's a market for it, people. That's the point. There's a market.
Yes,
So,
there's the market.
Ari, you've been outstanding. I've so enjoyed this
Yeah.
conversation. Please share the best way for our viewers to find you.
On my website, arirosedesigns.com or Ari Rose on LinkedIn. But go check out my website, Ari Rose Design. See all my work. Well, maybe not all of it. I only keep a few portfolio pieces on there, but go check it out.
I will include the links to both your LinkedIn and your website on the show notes page. People, go check out her website. Go check it out. If you are thinking about building your brand, if you've been toying with the idea of building your brand, if you're ready to step out in 2025, contact Ari. She's ready to help you. Ari, you've been outstanding. I truly
Yeah.
have enjoyed this
Thank you.
conversation. I thank you. Thank you.
My cheeks hurt from smiling, so thank you,
I
Lori.
know. Same here.
Thanks.